Hello everyone, I am Salamonster. I also go by Soy Salamonster, and I also go by that one guy that does his videos in Spanish and you can't understand.
¡Focusash! Oh, la capitana se va a ir por el granizo, sí, eso está muy sad.
I joined the ABL before the start of the 3rd season, so I'm pretty happy to have joined. This is the first time that I've actually played in the ABL. This is my big debut in Season 3. What makes the ABL more unique to me is actually the fact that it's a doubles draft league. I think that sets it apart from almost every other draft league. I think that it's super well organized. I think that it has a lot of good people to learn from, to play with, and I think that it's going to be one of those leagues that lasts for a long time because the staff and everyone is just doing a fantastic job with it.
Trying to switch his move up or something. So we do see the crunch going on Hatterene, does not quite secure the knockout. So I'm going to probably say that thing is scarfed.
My favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion because I grew up playing Red, and then from Red I moved on to Crystal. So I have a lot of fond memories of me just playing Crystal with my Cyndaquil that just got all the way up. I think the very first time I cleared the game, I must have gotten it up to about level 88, I think. And it was part of my team, the team that I used to defeat Red. I think that battle is epic, and that's why Typhlosion, my starter from there, is my favorite Pokemon. When I battle, I actually feel like sometimes I'm out of focus. I have the... I've had it happen a couple of times where I just miss something during the battle because I'm not paying attention. But I would actually say that I try to focus mostly on getting the upper hand. I try to figure out a way to get the upper hand and then just be able to manage things from there.
Sí, se me hace que sí. El Dapper está en peligro de pegarse solito y morir, entonces está tomando ese riesgo. Si se pega me voy a sentir muy mal. Ok, no, va otro. Ahora Wheel.
When drafting, I like to have a plan. Say, for example, I make a list of the Pokemon that I'd like the most, and then depending on the turn where I get to pick, both times I've been on a draft league, I've had last pick, so that has been helpful because I get to pick the main Pokemon that I want to build my team around of, and then I get to pick a partner immediately. So I think the main thing is just to know who do you want to be your main Pokemon, and then just build around that, cover the weaknesses as they show up, and know what kind of plans or what kind of synergy you want to have between your Pokemon. Well, regarding tips, I think the main thing is to try to have fun. If you're not having fun doing any of this, then I don't think it's worth doing it. I think that the best you can do is figure out what do you like to see in your battles. Go look at other people, check out how is it that they're making their teams work, watch other people battle to see what kind of works, how different play styles are created, and definitely try to just come up with things you enjoy trying. Don't be afraid to experiment, don't be afraid to just go for it, because I haven't been in many draft leagues, but both the times I've been on one I've had a lot of fun. I've tried out some crazy things from time to time, and I've had a blast.
What's up, Pokemon ABL? My name's CurseShaka, and today I am wearing a blazer on top of the Pokemon ABL Season 3 t-shirt because today we have a special prime time for you guys, and it's going to be myself along with somebody else. Ha! I told you guys there'd be a guest today. Anyways, we do have a special announcement today. I do want to point that out. We did say we would have a special announcement throughout the final weeks of prime time. This is the first big. It's a big special announcement. I got a blazer on. So there will be a special announcement today, as well as maybe you guys have already seen it, a coach interview while the loading for the primetime episode was up. So without any further delay, let's kick off the announcement, shall we? Let's do that.
Attention, all Pokemon trainers. Fill out the application now. Go ahead, fill it out. I'll wait.
So that is correct. We have a brand new league kicking off during the off season of the ABL, and it is going to be called the ABL Minors. Now, you guys might be saying, well, what's the difference of this league? You know, it seems like it's just another ABL season, and that's where I'm going to hold you right there, and I'm going to tell you, no, buckaroo, it's a little bit of a different thing. ABL Minors is specifically targeting people that cannot necessarily upload all the time, or people that don't want to be restricted to that you must upload every single battle all the time. It is a Wi-Fi league, so that means, yes, you do have to battle on your Switch, you do have to have a Switch, you do have to, you know, get ready, train, prep, and all that. You will be having your draftleague.nl account, just like the main seasons of ABL, except there's no restriction, there's no forceful you have to upload. If you guys do wish to upload, we will provide bits and pieces of art here for you guys to utilize. So yes, you can upload if you want, but it's not a requirement for you to upload, which I know a lot of people have been asking on joining the ABL, and this is the best way to do so. Are there prizes? Sadly, no, there are no prizes for ABL Minors. However, ABL Minors will be the first one within the ABL league. ABL Minors will always be the first one to try out new things, new rules, new formats, and so on and so forth. Now, speaking of formats, this will be a doubles league, just like the ABL has always been. The ABL has always been, since its foundation, a doubles league. So ABL's Minors will be no different. ABL Minors will be a doubles league. However, we will have a tiering system now. So whenever you do draft Pokemon, there will be a tier list that you guys have to go through. Another big announcement is there will be legendary Pokemon in this. Just like how in Ultra Series for VGC, you were restricted to 2 legendary Pokemon and then whatever else you wanted to do. For ABL Minors, we will have a tiering system similar to that, while at the same time being your standard draft tiering system. What that means is you will have 1 legendary pick, you will have 1 Gigantamax pick, and then the rest of the Mons are going to be tiered accordingly based on the staff and the council that we have pretty much assembled to determine that. Now, when can you apply for ABL Minors? You can apply right now. There should be a link going up in the chat or something like that. Or if you're watching this video on YouTube, it should be down in the description below that you can click and apply for Pokemon ABL Minors. Season will kick off in May. So ABL Season 3 ends in April. With playoffs and finals and all that, and then in May we have ABL Minors pushing us all the way through until ABL Season 4, which we will have more info on before the end of this season. We can't talk about ABL Season 4; that's taboo. It's so big, it's going to blow up. But anyways, ABL Minors is now open for applications. Make sure to drop an application if you guys are interested. If you guys are already playing in ABL, you guys can still join ABL Minors. It's not that you cannot join. And with that being said, merch for ABL Minors will be coming relatively soon. We probably will have that by next week. And of course, just like the ABL Season 3 t-shirts, any and all purchases made go directly straight back into prizes for ABL. So you're pretty much helping yourself out by purchasing merch. With that being said, ABL Minors, make sure to check it out. There'll be more on Twitter, more on the website, so on and so forth. That's the whole reason I'm wearing this blazer. With the ABL Minors announcement finally out, I do want to showcase a different type of video. You guys probably already saw it during the loading screen when we were waiting for the stream to start, but we're now doing coach interviews. So if you haven't been contacted yet and you're a coach in the PokemonABL, don't worry, we're going to be contacting you shortly. We're going through pretty much one by one, contacting people and then making a video, contacting, making a video, contacting. But I do want to show you guys the first coach interview of the PokemonABL.
Hello everyone, I am Salamonster. I also go by Soy Salamonster, and I also go by that one guy that does his videos in Spanish and you can't understand.
¡Focusash! Oh, la capitana se va a ir por el granizo, sí, eso está muy sad.
I joined the ABL before the start of the 3rd season, so I'm pretty happy to have joined. This is the first time that I've actually played in the ABL. This is my big debut in Season 3. What makes the ABL more unique to me is actually the fact that it's a doubles draft league. I think that sets it apart from almost every other draft league. I think that it's super well organized. I think that it has a lot of good people to learn from, to play with, and I think that it's going to be one of those leagues that lasts for a long time because the staff and everyone is just doing a fantastic job with it.
Trying to switch his move up or something. So we do see the crunch going on Hatterene, does not quite secure the knockout. So I'm going to probably say that thing is scarfed.
My favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion because I grew up playing Red, and then from Red I moved on to Crystal. So I have a lot of fond memories of me just playing Crystal with my Cyndaquil that just got all the way up. I think the very first time I cleared the game, I must have gotten it up to about level 88, I think. And it was part of my team, the team that I used to defeat Red. I think that battle is epic, and that's why Typhlosion, my starter from there, is my favorite Pokemon. When I battle, I actually feel like sometimes I'm out of focus. I have the... I've had it happen a couple of times where I just miss something during the battle because I'm not paying attention. But I would actually say that I try to focus mostly on getting the upper hand. I try to figure out a way to get the upper hand and then just be able to manage things from there.
Sí, se me hace que sí. El Dapper está en peligro de pegarse solito y morir, entonces está tomando ese riesgo. Si se pega me voy a sentir muy mal. Ok, no, va otro. Ahora Wheel.
When drafting, I like to have a plan. Say, for example, I make a list of the Pokemon that I'd like the most, and then depending on the turn where I get to pick, both times I've been on a draft league, I've had last pick, so that has been helpful because I get to pick the main Pokemon that I want to build my team around of, and then I get to pick a partner immediately. So I think the main thing is just to know who do you want to be your main Pokemon, and then just build around that, cover the weaknesses as they show up, and know what kind of plans or what kind of synergy you want to have between your Pokemon. Well, regarding tips, I think the main thing is to try to have fun. If you're not having fun doing any of this, then I don't think it's worth doing it. I think that the best you can do is figure out what do you like to see in your battles. Go look at other people, check out how is it that they're making their teams work, watch other people battle to see what kind of works, how different play styles are created, and definitely try to just come up with things you enjoy trying. Don't be afraid to experiment, don't be afraid to just go for it, because I haven't been in many draft leagues, but both the times I've been on one, I've had a lot of fun. I've tried out some crazy things from time to time, and I've had a blast.
And now, I know you guys are saying, hey, I came here to watch the Pokemon battles. Maybe the announcements are out of the way. I got you. Listen, we got a special guest today, right? And this special guest is going to go through some battles. And this special guest is going to crown our primetime Power Plays winner. So, without any further delay, let me present to you guys SVTornado.
Welcome everyone, and thank you all for tuning in to this week of ABL Primetime. This week we'll be featuring a trio of matches, which we shall go over shortly. The live primetime match, of course, between the LANSING Leafeons and Coach Nick, aka Kyogre Kai, and the San Juan Froakies and their coach, CurseShaka himself. As some of y'all might notice, who've watched Primetime before, I'm not CurseShaka, nor am I Percase. For those who don't know me, you might know me if you have kept up with the season. I'm SVTornado. Hi, I'm hosting this first part of Primetime this week. Curse was kind enough to let me do that. This segment is pre-recorded for the record, so don't expect any interactions with the chat. But yeah, that's how we're here. We'll start off with the matches, then comes prime time, and we'll end off with the very special announcement that you won't want to miss. So let's just get into our first match. The first one will also be the Power Plays winner of the week, so stay tuned for that one. And now let's get right into the first match this week, which is Solobgo and the Copenhagen K9s taking on CurseShaka and the San Juan Froakies. So obviously going into this, Solobgo just came out of Gamma Division into Beta Division post the most recent Dynamic Shuffle. And Curse obviously came down from Alpha Division into Beta Division. So this is a very interesting matchup in the fact that both of these coaches only went to Beta Division after the Shuffle. And Solobgo has really been doing a lot better recently. He's really been improving as a coach, in my honest opinion. Whereas Curse seems to have had a bit of lack of prep, as for his own words. As you might have seen from his video. Something that's very apparent from this battle is that Curse really struggled with breaking Solobgo's Galarian Corsola. Which, that thing is ridiculously bulky, by the way, with an Eviolite. Curse really struggled breaking that thing, and it just kept on being a nuisance to him with things like Haze getting rid of the stat boost from, for example, the electric seeds, working with Pinchurchin's terrain. Haze preventing the Alcremie from decorating into the Snorlax, which Curse has done before. And then the fact that Corsola also gets Strength Sap, which is a major nuisance to Curse's primarily physical attackers. Curse's team, his big breakers, are predominantly physical, so the Corsola really just is a major nuisance to that. As you see right here, Solobgo realizes that the Scarf Rillaboom being locked into knockoff is not a good thing to have on the field against a Alcremie. What he does not realize at this moment in time is that Snorlax gets every move under the sun, and as you'll see shortly, just straight knocks out the Gastrodon with a Seed Bomb, which is a great bring on Curse's part, for the record. Strength Sapping that Snorlax makes it immediately not really want to stay in, because when the Corsola keeps Strength Sapping your attack away, you really can't do much with your Gigantamax Mon. Whereas Slobgo keeps pressuring Curse's team with a very strong attacker right next to this great support mon, which keeps Curse's team from recovering from the early lead that Slobgo brings with this Corsola. Corsola is the key to this entire match, to be honest. Corsola is what kept Curse's team in check, prevented Curse from absolutely setting up with the Snorlax and screwing over Slobgo's team. If the Corsola wasn't here, I'm sure Curse would have been able to set up more with the Snorlax, get its attack raised, and start getting rid of things on Slobgo's team, but this Corsola just keeps preventing that from happening. And Curse never really recovers from it, as you can see a bit later in the video. Curse never really recovers from this Corsola being a nuisance to him. Even with his Gigantamax Snorlax, he's not really able to do much, feeling forced to max guard on two of his 3 turns with his G-Max Snorlax, just because otherwise it would be dead, or so severely weakened that it's pretty pointless at that point in the match. Even though Snorlax is a great Gigantamax captain, it just couldn't pull through against this Corsola. This Corsola, to my knowledge, has never left the field during this battle at all, which is a huge sentiment to how well Slobgo is using it to pretty much pester, annoy Curse and his team. The Corsola just keeps lowering the Snorlax's attack to the point that even this max overgrowth from a G-Max Snorlax does like 20 damage to the Corsola, which is so ridiculous. Liquidation from Pinchurchin, giant attack stat, only like 15 damage. This Corsola just keeps pressuring Curse's team, even if not in an offensive aspect, to the point that Curse can never really recover from it. And as you can see slightly later on, Curse will be able to take out this Tyranitar at least, but a Snorlax with heavily lowered attack versus Galarian Corsola, a Scarf Rillaboom that destroys Snorlax, and the G-Max Charizard, it can't pull that off. It really can't. This Corsola just never left the field and kept on annoying Curse's team, pressuring Curse's team, to the point that they can't really be offensive. Because Curse's 2 main Pokemon that were on the field the most in this battle were Snorlax and Pinchurchin. Pinchurchin, very low base HP, so Nightshade will absolutely destroy it in a few hits. And then there's the fact that Snorlax gets nullified with Strength Sap, effectively. As you can see here, Slobgo picks up the final kill with Max Knuckle from G-Max Charizard on the Snorlax. Very well played game from Slobgo's side. I don't think Curse played badly either. I just think the Corsola really shut down Curse's team. Yeah, that did not end well for Curse at all. I do also believe that that Obstagoon, Curse's Obstagoon, the main counter he has for Corsola, that it died to a superpower from Scarf Rillaboom. Which obviously, you can't predict everything. You can't predict Rillaboom to be Scarf. That isn't really a predictable fact. So you can't blame Curse for that. But it did definitely hurt his chances of winning this match, when that Corsola basically had no check anymore on Curse's team. But that being said, let's move on to our second match, which is the Quinavaca Cyndaquils and coach Soy Salamonster versus the honest Pokemon trainer HPT and his Sinjubert's Castaways. So this is an Alpha Division match. HPT obviously being the top ranking coach in the league currently, and Soy having shown a lot of progression during the season, having made very good use of especially his Sableye. His Sableye, Seismitoad, and G-Max Hatterene have been doing phenomenally for Soy. Both very good players. So this match, going into it, was already pretty much a hype fest from the beginning. HPT straight up leads with his Araquanid, which, in case y'all don't know, Araquanid currently is the kill leader in this league, the Dynamax Araquanid. Because Araquanid hits so hard with Stab Liquidation as a max move, Max Geyser, with Water Bubble, and HPT has been exclusively running it with a Mystic Water, boosting its power even further. And HPT straight up goes into the Dynamax Araquanid turn 1, and this really put Soy on the back foot immediately. Bisharp obviously protects, doesn't want to take a close combat to the face from Machamp. Reflect coming out from the Clefable. But just look at this damage from this Max Geyser on Clefable through Reflect. Ridiculous damage. Straight up ridiculous damage. Soy definitely struggled to take care of this Dynamax Araquanid. This Araquanid being here turn 1 definitely put Soy on the back foot very, very early on. Soy's team is really good. Let me emphasize that real quick. But the fact that this Araquanid hit so incredibly hard just means barely anything can take a hit on Soy's team from it. And as you can see here, he switched out the Bisharp into Sableye. But that Sableye just gets straight washed away by a Max Geyser from this Araquanid in rain. Which immediately puts Soy's most versatile mon out of commission. It instantly goes down in turn 2. Forcing Soy basically to go into his own Gigantamax Captain in order to even have a chance of surviving. Because what Soy is planning to do here is he's gonna Max Guard with the Hatterene to stall out the last turn of Araquanid's Dynamax, which is a very smart play, obviously. But then his other part of the turn I don't really get, because he's switching out Clefable into Jolteon, but Clefable barely served a purpose at this point. Like, the only thing Clefable is really here to check, as far as I'm aware, is the Machamp, and the Machamp has already shown Bullet Punch, meaning he can just take out the Clefable from the range of HP it is currently at. So, in my opinion, Soy should have just sacked off the Clefable there, to keep his Jolteon alive, to later in the match get rid of the Araquanid when it wasn't Dynamaxed anymore. That's my take on it. I think that would have given Soy a much better chance of winning this match. Because as you can currently see, he basically has 3 Pokemon left, and a heavily damaged Clefable, against HPT's entire team. And that isn't really a position you want to be in. You really are on the back foot at that point. You have lost your Jolteon, which is your main check to this Araquanid, and you have lost your Sableye, which is your most versatile Pokemon on the squad. So what do you do at that point? Like, HPT's team can be very defensive, but also very offensive. And Soy basically lost 2 of his most important mons already. Like, sure, he gets some decent damage here on this Araquanid with Thunder Punch. And he has a great bring with Absorb Bulb, I believe he ran on Hatrin. Very smart prep. But it didn't really turn into anything. Because, spoiler, Soy ends up losing this match to HPT. I believe only like 2-0. So really, Soy brings it back a decent bit, but not to the point he can actually win. He's basically playing for differential in the end. To say it in the most simple way possible. Pangoro basically is his main attacker at this point. HPT obviously wants to preserve that Araquanid, now that he knows the Pangoro has Thunder Punch. So he switches in his most tanky Pokemon, being the Violite Dusclops, right? This thing, great support mon. Obviously can tank a lot of hits from this Pangoro and this Hatrin, because this is the last turn of Gigantamax that Soy has. So now he will just be normal Hatrin. Which, sure, it's a great Pokemon still. But it's nothing exactly groundbreaking, to say the least. Let's just skip ahead a bit, because this match, I wouldn't say necessarily it's one-sided, but HPT really had the upper hand from turn 1, with the instant pressure from the Dynamax Araquanid, basically forcing Soy to play the second game early on, which really isn't the game you want to play. It really puts you on the back foot immediately, and that's never wanted. You never want that. And then the Sylveon just goes in and starts racking up kills. Like, he takes care of the Dusclops. Good turn, getting rid of the Dusclops. But now he just goes into one of his other offensive. Now he basically only has offensive mons left against Soy's pretty frail mons, which is not a position you like to be in. Like, Clefable dies to a Bullet Punch, Pangoro dies to a Bullet Punch, and then there's Blue Ranger who dies to a close combat from Machamp. So basically at this point, Soy has already lost at this point, in my opinion, because Pangoro goes down to a Bullet Punch. Sure, Soy can kill the Sylveon with his Bisharp, but now the Machamp can just straight up Bullet Punch the Clefable, and then whatever other Pokemon HPT sends in, whether that's Araquanid or Mamoswine, it just wrecks the Bisharp. So well played to both coaches, both HPT and Soy. Good match. Advice for Soy: look out for the Araquanid. You don't want a repeat of this if you play him again in playoffs. You don't want a repeat of this, Soy. But moving on, onto our third and final match before heading into Primetime, the Primetime match itself, and following that, our very special announcement. Our third match is also the Power Plays winner, and that is Nick and the LANSING Leafeons taking on Callie, aka Under the Radar, and the Maryland Torterrapins. Power Plays winner in this scenario is, small spoiler, because Nick ends up winning against Callie. And because of that, Nick will be winning the Power Plays award for this week. Congrats, Nick and your LANSING Leafeons. The ABL will be in touch with you, and now let's get into the match. So, major things to note here. Callie has not necessarily the most conventional team, but he has a very big presence with mons like Aegislash and Silvally on the offensive front, and then you have support mons like Clefairy and Prankster Meowstic, being able to status the opponent in case of Meowstic, or making them only able to hit the Pokemon you want, like with Follow Me Clefairy. Well, notable mons on Nick's side are the Dynamax/Gigantamax Corviknight, which obviously Corviknight is one of the more outstanding mons in Gen 8 introduced. And then there's the Grimmsnarl, that functions as a great support mon, obviously with Prankster, things like Taunt, Thunder Wave, things like that, which as you just saw, he taunted Clefairy, meaning Clefairy basically guaranteedly wants to switch out here, because its main purpose is to follow me, which it can't do anymore at this point in time. So, Cali King Shields with the Aegis Slash, but Thunder Wave obviously goes through King Shield and Protect, so that really cripples the Aegis Slash a decent bit, now that it's very, very slow. So, instantly from the get-go, Nick is playing very, very well against Cali, who took over in week 5, taking over a 0-4 team, bringing it 4-4, going into the shuffle. Basically, at the point that Nick and Cali battled, Cali was basically undefeated in the ABL, which, to beat such an experienced player like Cali, especially when he has been on a 4-week winning streak, really is a major showing, in my opinion, of Nick's skill as a battler, to understand what to play in what scenario, to understand how to basically shut down the Clefairy so that it can't just spam follow me. And then, as you can see now, he has a Scarf Diggersby on the field, who I believe is locked into Earth Power, High Horsepower, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's a Shell Smash Turtonator on the field, which, in case you didn't know, after a Shell Smash, barely anything on Kelly's team takes a hit from Turtonator, which he isn't instantly going for the Shell Smash, obviously, because he wants the Flamethrower into that Aegis Slash. Clefairy protects, fair play. Something kind of funny happens next turn. Nick forgets that Neutralizing Gas didn't pop up when Weezing switched in, and thus he is Levitate, and he doesn't realize that. Not that it matters a lot, it just means extra damage on Diggersby, or rather less damage on the Clefairy that Diggersby could have caused. Now the Turtonator has gotten up a Shell Smash, and now Kelly is kinda in trouble, to say the least, because now Nick can pretty much spam Flamethrower with Turtonator and pick up a kill most of the time. Like, obviously Lantern tanks it, depending on what kind of Silvally he is, he tanks it, but most of the time Nick can pretty freely spam Flamethrower now, which, as you can see, straight up knocks out the Weezing. And now Nick is in a pretty dominant position right now. It's 5-4, even though Nick's layout still shows 6. He forgot to take off Grimmsnarl for a decent part of it. It's 5-4 now, but 2 of Cali's remaining Pokemon really don't have that offensive of a presence in the form of Clefairy and Lantern, while the entirety of Nick's remaining team, Corviknight, Diggersby, Turtonator, Espeon, Galvantula, all have a very offensive presence. So, at this point, Nick is in a pretty dominant position versus Cali. Cali obviously going for the Dynamax on his Silvally, as expected. And he's gonna click Max Airstream to boost his speed, which is a very smart play, to be honest. Following me with Clefairy, obviously, meaning the Clefairy does die this turn. Nick accidentally opened the wrong layout for a second, by the way. So no, that was not an error on my part. That was Nick. So blame Nick. It's a short version of it. Now the Clefairy goes down, which basically means Callie has 2 very offensive mons left, one of which is crippled because it's paralyzed, and he has a more supportive mon in the form of Lantern left against Nick's team, who currently have up a post-shell smash Tornado and a Scarf Diggersby, which can absolutely destroy something on the field right now. And Lantern protects, which, as you will see shortly, Diggersby lives on 9 HP, by the way. Very clutch, because that means the Sylveli is dying this turn. Because Nick doubled into it, I really don't know which Sylveli it was, by the way. I didn't pay attention to that part. But Sylveli goes down. And now it's Nick's squad of 5 against Callie's paralyzed Aegislash and his Lantern. Obviously, as you can probably already tell, Nick is easily winning against Callie at this point. Lantern dies straight up to the high horsepower, which means it's now Callie's heavily injured Aegislash. Even though it gets its weakness policy, it's kind of too late already. Callie at this point, he does manage to take out the Tornado, but it's Callie's paralyzed Aegislash against Corviknight, Diggersby, Espion, and Galvantula. And because Corviknight is his D-Max captain, he can also go through King's Shield, which means Callie can't really stall either. Basically, Nick already won at this point. I think both Nick and Callie played very well this week. Nick just a little better than Callie. But still, Callie being on a winning streak for 4 weeks in a row, still very impressive. So, good job on that, man. As for Nick, with this match, he finally broke his losing streak, which obviously no one likes a losing streak. So congrats to Nick for winning this match. Again, Nick and his LANSING Leafeons are your power plays winner for this week. The ABL will be in touch with you. And now we shall move over to the primetime match, which is a fragment not hosted by me. So until later, Tornado out.
And now, let's get on to the main gist of Primetime. We're going to go to the battle. It's my battle against the LANSING Leafeons, Nick. And let me tell you guys, this is pre-recorded. Of course it is. Because I'm not going to battle now, you know. But with that being said, quick disclaimer. I beat Nick 4-0 the first time we battled. This time, we'll see what happens, right? And with that being said, I also got to say, I did not prep. I've been doing this, and a bunch of other stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching Primetime. Let's kick off this Primetime battle. I know you guys have been waiting for it. Get your popcorn, get your drinks, get your snacks. It's going on. All right. So hopping into this battle right here, we're going to see that I am bringing a very common team that I usually always bring. And again, it's weird to be narrating my own battle on Primetime, but you know, there's a lot of things going on in the background of the ABL this week, and we're trying to get some things squared away. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Basically, I had a very not simple strategy of not prepping and just picking up whatever I had in the bag. So as we can see, you're seeing the triple electric seed that we have seen in the past a few times from my side. And for Nick, he has made adjustments probably in the movesets, but overall his team is basically the same team that the San Juan Froakies took that first battle like 2 weeks ago. So here, the biggest difference that Curse had is there's no Sandaconda. He brought the Obstagoon. And I say Curse, but I'm talking about myself. So, again, looking at his team, it looked very, very intimidating. You know, you have the Grimmsnarl with the possible fake outs, the taunts. The overall taunt potential on his team is huge. And then Alcremie being one of the things that I have to probably lead with first in order to avoid said taunts. Now, going into the battle, with the little prep I did have, the only thing I did want to do is try to set up Toxic Spikes with Pincurchin and then use Venom Drench. I've never used that strategy before. And like I said in my previous week's battle, I was trying to just use all the different types of techniques I could with my team. I probably still haven't used all of them, of course. But that's what I was mainly going for today. I thought they wouldn't target Pincurchin, they target Alcremie, and I could potentially get Toxic Spikes up and use Venom Drench. So that's the idea coming into the battle, and then from there, just sweep with everything else that I have in the team. So we'll just see how that goes. And then Nick leads off with Diggersby and Espeon, a very good lead. Now, leading off with Pincurchin and Alcremie, the only thing I'm afraid of here is Espeon having Magic Bounce. So that quickly makes me rethink my strategy a little bit. And right here off the bat, I'm not too positive I know what I want to do. We do have 2 Electric Seeds kicking off, but that Diggersby probably isn't going to care about that, honestly. So there's a few options here. With the Pincurchin, I could go ahead and liquidate on the Diggersby, or I could Zing Zap the Espeon. But I think Diggersby is the bigger threat, and that is something that I might be wrong about. Because Espeon being very, very, very bulky, not bulky, but offensively a threat with spread moves and stab psychic moves that are probably very powerful. It's also a big threat to Obstagoon and Bruce, which are 2 of my biggest attackers coming into this battle. And here I'm considering a switch, but I don't proceed with that switch. Instead, I think I want to just go ahead and use Alcremie. But, again, not a good position to set up Toxic Spikes because I'm not too sure what he might be rocking on his side. So again, Liquidation on Diggersby because I think Diggersby is the bigger physical threat. Snorlax can body some special moves. But Espeon does go in for the Dazzling Gleam and gets a critical hit on the Pincurchin, which is not the best thing at all. And then that Iron Head is going to be enough to take out Alcremie from here. The huge power Diggersby is always a very big threat. So right off the bat, at a very bad start, 1 crit and 1 knockout on my end, and it's looking rough already. Liquidation does a very good amount on Diggersby, and then now I have to go and pick something up here to bring in. I'm considering Obstagoon, but we did just see that Dazzling Gleam, and I don't know if the Diggersby is Scarfed yet because my 2 Pokemon weren't necessarily fast. So if Diggersby had a Fighting type move, Obstagoon is just handed out to him. So I'm not too sure I want to bring in Obstagoon. I might bring in Bruce to get that Electric Seed kicked off, and I can then fake out the Espeon and finish off the Diggersby if he does not target the Pincurchin. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And Bruce does come in. Electric Seed kicks off, which, again, to be fair, not the best defense in the world, but I do need to get that Unburden off. And we're going to go ahead and liquidate, I believe, because I do want to use the Toxic Spikes, but there's no way. And here's the thing. Nick might be thinking, I can finish off that Pincurchin. Espeon 100% bodies the Bruce. I'm in a very good position right now with this lead. And he's not wrong. It's a very, very good position to be in with that lead. The potential here for a switch for me is big, but the only thing I'm thinking about right now is if there's any way I can get Zubat and Snorlax on the field at the same time, I can potentially speed swap and start doing shenanigans, but I can't forcefully switch because the moment I do, he's just gonna start targeting the other Mon. It's a really tough position to be in. So we're gonna go ahead and see how this turn plays out here. But again, very tough position, a very bad lead in my opinion from my end. Honestly, I think if I would have led Zubat and Snorlax, I might have been in a better position. But who knows? Maybe Diggersby had a Fighting type move. I don't know. Here comes a Scrafty trying to get that Intimidate off. This is a Mon that could potentially use Fake Out as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see here how that Scrafty is put into play. Espeon does not have Protect. It gets hit with the Fake Out. Not too much damage on it, but that's going to do an okay amount. Liquidation hits that Scrafty, and Scrafty being a very well-rounded Pokemon, to be honest. Scrafty is taking that damage like no one's business, plus that Intimidate that did kick off. We did see the leftovers on the Espeon, so now it's a matter of what do I want to do. I could go ahead and use the Terrain Boost to Zing Zap and try to make up for that Intimidate loss and hit that Espeon, which is probably what I'm going to do. And then I could try to High Jump Kick, risking there potentially being a Protect on the Scrafty. Or I could go for Rock Slide. And I'm going to go for Rock Slide for the safer one off the bat. He does go for Fake Out, which is great. I'm just hoping for for no target on the on the Bruce, but you know, it is being doubled down on, so that's going to be a loss for my end again. Now we see the Zing Zap from Pincurchin, and it does a very good amount of damage on Espeon, and honestly, we should have just been targeting Espeon from the beginning. But, you know, hindsight, 2020, and narrating over this, even more 2020. And the fact that there's no preparation, even more 2020. Honestly, the Leafeons are in a very solid position, regardless of there being a Snorlax in the back, regardless of there being an Obstagoon in the back. It doesn't matter. They're in an outstanding position. Obstagoon coming in against all odds. A fighting type that is quad super effective against it, and an Espeon who we know has Dazzling Gleam. So it's very, very good prep from the Lansing Leafeon side, covering all those weaknesses. Obstagoon opting to go for an Obstruct here to activate its Flame Orb, when in hindsight, and even in the battle, I was considering just going straight up for the Bulk Up, and we're going to see right here if that's going to pay off or not. And then the Dazzling Gleam does come up, Obstagoon taking that with that Obstruct, and now Pincurchin going to be just strangle. Like, he's going to be low. He's about to go down, and he does go down to the Drain Punch. Scrafty getting that KO on the Pincurchin. Again, Pincurchin did not get to do its goal. Its goal was, you know, set up these Toxic Spikes, maybe one layer, maybe two if possible, and get that Venom Drench going on the opponent. All Pokemon except for the Corviknight would have been affected by Venom Drench. So again, a strat that is very, very hard to pull off unless I have Trick Room up. And I didn't have Trick Room. Now here I'm deciding, hey, do I want Snorlax right off the bat, or do I want Subat? I send out Subat, but the idea here is if I can potentially get both these Mons up at the same time, I could maybe still fix it. Now we're going to go try to get a knockoff on the Espeon. Again, Nick's in an outstanding position. Nick can 6-0 us with the right targeting right here. And that's all he pretty much needs to do to get a 6-0. You know, you target the right Mons, you get a 6-0. But again, he's going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and knock off the Espeon, which will be enough to pick up the KO, considering it did have the leftover still on it. Espeon will go out. And now we're going to see the body press from Obstagoon, and it's going to go ahead and hit this Scrafty. Not going to be enough. I'm wondering if the Bulk Up would have been enough to pick up that body press KO on the Scrafty. Probably would have been. So again, hindsight 2020, but Scrafty does pick up the KO with that Drain Punch, restores a good chunk of its health, and now pretty much it's a game of cleanup on the Lansing Leafeon side. All they need to do is clean up these last two stragglers, and they'll be able to pick up a nice clean W. Nick does go on and send out the Corviknight, which is honestly the best choice to come and pick up the final KOs here. Corviknight being a good matchup against the Snorlax. Snorlax is set up to potentially deal with it, but it ain't necessarily going to be the best. Now, Corviknight here, with the abilities that it does have, which we will see in a second here, going to do some amazing work. Right now, wondering whether we should knock off or Reflect in case there's any items that I want to consider taking off. I do ultimately opt out for the Reflect. Nick can do a couple of things, probably going to Dynamax the Corviknight, and try to pick up some speed on his side of the field to try to outspeed the Subat and the potential speed swap. Again, great plays if that's the case. We do opt out for the Reflect and the Belly Drum. We're going to go ahead and see what exactly Nick and the Lansing Leafeons are going to do. Corviknight, again, rocking the Unnerve ability, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see here. There is the Dynamax, like we said. And it's gonna be a game of cleanup. Like we said, we're cleaning up the final bits and pieces of this match. Now with Corviknight on the field, or the Dynamax Corviknight on the field, we do see Scrafty protecting, which again it's a great move. Trying to scout out to see what exactly we're doing on this end. We're gonna go ahead and set up a Reflect, which honestly might not matter as much as we think. Here's the max airstream coming in from Corviknight, hitting the Snorlax for some very good damage right there. And now it's going to be a tight spot here. So, not much we can probably do. Getting that speed boost is going to be an issue later down the line. Because, again, we can't really do much. Here we realize that, I think I realize here that he is an Unnerved, and I completely lose it. I don't have my berry. My Belly Drum was wasted. I pretty much just sacrifice my Snorlax by doing that. So at this point, I'm like, all right, we have no Pokemon. I do have my berry still. This means he is unnerved. So the only thing I can do is just keep playing it through. There's nothing else I can do. I can try to stall. Swoobat ain't going to carry me. So at this point, I lost the match. I lost the match when I lost Obstagoon. But right here, the game is lost. So we're going to just go ahead and Dynamax and hit that Thunder Punch. Or hit the Replenish on the Scrafty, rather, because he had just protected. And I know that I won't probably get a chance to Thunder Punch the Corviknight. And even if I do, the Scrafty knocks me out. So again, we're going to go ahead and take out the Scrafty and hope by any sort of grace that the Corviknight targets the Swoobat instead. But we know that's not going to happen. And again, this is going to be a win for Nick. There's no way, honestly, here that we pick up a W or that we make it back. There's no heat recovery moves. Unless we take out the Corviknight, we can't recover anything with Snorlax. It's going to be a very tough spot here. And honestly, the only chance we have is if there's a target from that Corviknight onto the Swoobat, because G-Max Replenish will make sure the Scrafty does not Drain Punch the Snorlax or take out the Snorlax. It's a super effective hit. We do get the crit here. It doesn't matter at a plus 6. And now Corviknight, wondering if it's going to target the Swoobat or the Snorlax. It targets the Snorlax, which is great targeting on Nick's side. Swoobat cannot do anything now. Swoobat is in the position of just take hits and faint. So again, very good positioning, very good leads, very good prep from the Lansing Leafeons, as opposed to the San Juan Froakies not preparing at all, it seems. So we're going to go ahead and see what the final Pokemon that Nick decides to bring out will be, and we're going to try and see which Mon will try to pick up the KO on this Swoobat. Again, can't really do much here, as you guys see the moveset on your screens. Ally Switch, Speed Swap, Reflect, Knockoff. Nothing here is going to secure any sort of comeback to the San Juan Froakies. So right now it's just a matter of who's going to secure this KO. Here's a Max Airstream from the Corviknight onto the Swoobat. It's not going to be enough. Not even enough at all. I would figure that would activate the Sash, but I get this. I guess the Swoobat it's got some bulk in there. And now we got Grimmsnarl going for foul play, and that will be enough to pick up the KO on the Swoobat, and that is going to be game. Lansing Leafeon securing that win, and that's going to be it for the battle.
Attention, all Pokemon trainers. Fill out the application now. Go ahead, fill it out. I'll wait.